Hello Tribe, welcome to Dennis Saliba, Occult and Fortean, and in today's video I want to conduct a Plato style analysis. And in my understanding of Platonism, basically the reality of the physical world is reflected through the Platonic mathematical world, and our understanding of the mental world, they are all interconnected with each other, and basically numbers are one element of reality. Therefore, the statistical analysis is a scale in which we can begin to construct the human psyche and help us to model the reality of the human experience in 2025. So basically, in my understanding of the Platonic worldview and Platonic philosophy, is that numbers are integral to the physical elements of the mental, but the physical reality, and that numbers are themselves timeless, and that these must follow absolute principles and rules of reality. So let's get into it. So in my analysis, rather brief analysis, and again, this is not comprehensive. This is not intended to be a comprehensive mathematical data set from a statistician per se. I'm not a statistician. I don't have a mathematics background. But based on the sources, approximately 45, that bird distracted me. Approximately 4.5% of the global populace are believed to be psychopaths. And the psychopaths are the ones who basically tell normies, conformies, the masses, how to live their life in a reality that they basically co-construct. And a lot of that co-construction is inherent within the nature of psychopathy, which I could get into, but I'm just extrapolating a little bit more on Thomas Sheridan's work, and I do credit him for his insights into his work on psychopathy, which inspired me to add just my little take on this. But basically, globally, it's believed to be 4.5 to 5% of the global populace are psychopaths, although there are variations in this, and we'll get to that later. Interestingly, business leaders, around 3 to 4% of business leaders are believed to be psychopaths, and psychopathy tends to be higher in men than it does to be in women, which is rather interesting. Now, moving over to the neurodivergent population. Now, this is, again, sourced from Google AI. I don't use Grok, and I don't use other forms of AI. This is just a generic Google AI. So if you have more insights, please comment down below. But basically, 15 to 20% of the global population is considered to be neurodivergent, and this is factoring in conditions like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and Tourette's syndrome. Out of this breakdown in particular, Tourette's syndrome accounts for about 1.1 to 2% of the population, and ADHD and dyslexia are roughly 10 to 15% within that 20% bracket. Now, interestingly, autism is just a mere 1 to 2% of the global population. So for those of you who identify as, I guess, black-pilled, jaded, disgruntled, demoralized, beaten down, you're not alone. You're not alone in this reality, and in fact, the setup of society, as I've modeled here, because apparently the World Health Organization, interestingly, tends to avoid creating statistical analyses of neurotypes. This is my model of society, the psychic model of society, based on the World Health Organization, but not just the World Health Organization. This also includes autism as well. And as you can see in these statistics, Neurotypes account for 75 to 80% of the population. They carry out the psychopathic world order, or the reality that psychopaths themselves co-create in the 3D dimensional realm. Psychopaths are a minority at the top who rule, quote-unquote rule, or they essentially create the reality for the others to follow. And then you get towards the neurodivergent, towards the bottom level of the strata, or the bottom lower level part of the pyramid, the social pyramid. And basically autism in particular is around 1.2% to 2% of the global population. So you're not weird, you're not strange, you don't have to be too jaded and beat yourself up about it. Your human experience is valid. When you become afraid, fearful because of sensory overload, or maybe you just are overstimulated, you want to have, possibly have those meltdowns. And this is from someone also who is on the line of between the autism spectrum and the so-called neurotypical cognition, neurotypical information processing state. I'm kind of on the border of those two myself. That you're basically not alone, and that numbers in the Platonic analysis gives us an ability to add a quantifiable scale onto which we can model the human experience and the human psyche, especially going into 2025. And this does not make you a freak. I mean, statistically, it makes you an outlier, but this does not make you a freak or any less valid. It just means that you're just a statistical minority in the setup that we are in. So that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you take care, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. Humanis Invictus, the human spirit, is not conquered. Take care, everyone.